My name's Jamie Tarn. I'm the president of the Fire Safe Council, Siskiyou County. And tonight, we will be foregoing our usual agenda and meeting program. So we give plenty of opportunity for our speakers. And also we wanted to leave time for questions. We felt this would be a good opportunity for a lot of interaction. What we really don't want to get into tonight is the McKinney and Yeti fires, their cause, their situational update, strategies or issues. There's another time and place for that, and tonight isn't the right place. But I am excited for tonight's topics and the guest speakers, since it's such a timely discussion with everything that we do have going on in the county over especially the last few weeks, but for years that we've been dealing with these things.
Jamie,
so, yes.
May we ask that everybody put their names and or anything about themselves in chat for our records?
Giselle just beat me to it as I was about to say that. No, it's good timing. We think alike, obviously.
Right.
So, so yes, please put your names in the chat so we can capture everybody who attended tonight. And if you have an affiliation, put that as well. And if you want to be on our email list, go ahead and add your email to that. And we can add you to our monthly email list. If you have questions, also either use the Zoom raising the hand or put it in the chat and we will try to capture it. So just be patient as we try to watch everything going on the screen. And so tonight we have with this is the topic is mainly insurance, but we have from the California Department of Insurance, we have, excuse me if I mispronounce, but Duria Syed and Tony Signorelli. Did I get those all right? Okay. And then from the Rich Torrenson Insurance Group, we have Brian Johnson. Is Brian with us yet tonight?
Yes.
Okay. And then we also have, where'd the name go? Mary Barrascato from CORE. And that's a nonprofit group that does hazard mitigation as well. So we're not going to do our usual go around the room with introductions, and we're just going to go ahead and get into the topics. So first on the agenda would be our folks from the California Department of Insurance. And at that, I will give it over to you guys.
Great, Jamie. Tony Signorelli, Deputy Commissioner over Consumer Services at the Department of Insurance in California. I'm just going to mention a few topics and just to pique people's interest, and if they have other questions after that, feel free. I'm not sure if you are going to wait till the end or whether it's immediately after I speak, answer questions, whatever you prefer.
Yeah, if we have questions, I think people will have questions throughout. So let's do some questions while you're speaking or after you're done speaking, and then we'll do it also at the end. So you might get more.
Okay, so I'll just raise a few topics. The first is most immediate in the sense that my staff, the department staff, will be at the local assistance center in Siskiyou County next week. So anyone that has questions with regard to claims with regard to the recent wildfires, come and sit at our table, talk to our experts, ask any questions. If you have paper you want to bring and show it to them, that'd be great too, to help them give you a better response. But we'll be there for that 2-day period next Wednesday and Thursday. It's the 17th and 18th at the college over on Campus Drive in Wairika. So we'll be there to answer any questions you have in person as part of the local assistance center. In addition, just on the topic of claims in the recent wildfires, is we invite you really to go to our wildfire resource page. We have a lot of helpful information there. and some tips on how to proceed with your claim, how to work with your adjuster, how to understand some of your rights that you have, and other tips with just in terms of the whole claims process, and how to contact us if you have other questions. In addition, any point in time, whether it's today, next month, or in 6 months down the road, if you have a large claim, feel free to contact our consumer hotline or visit us online, ask a question, file a complaint if you think you're not being treated properly, and we're there really to help you from the beginning all the way to the end. That's in regard to claims. In regard to just the wildfires and how they may relate to cancellations or non-renewals that are occurring in certain areas, to let you know, since Governor Newsom did declare a state of emergency in Siskiyou County with regard to the recent wildfires, the Department of Insurance is in the process of issuing a moratorium bulletin, which we expect to issue in the next week, that will prohibit insurance companies from canceling or non-renewing your homeowner's insurance policy for 1 year starting July 30th, which is the date the governor made the declaration with regard to the 3 fires that are occurring or did occur in the county. Once we're working with CAL FIRE, and once we've identified the fire perimeters and identified the specific zip codes, we'll be identifying those zip codes in the bulletin, and then policyholders will know whether they have that protection and for what period of time. Lastly, I'll just say that whether it's a claims issue or a non-renewal issue, feel free to contact us if you have any questions. If you think you got non-renewed and it falls within this moratorium period, or you think it falls within the geographic area of this moratorium, these moratoriums, then and your insurance company is not giving you the benefit of renewing your policy, then please contact us. Let us look at it. Let us make sure that the insurance company is following the law, following the rules in the bulletin, following their own guidelines, and we can take a look at that to make sure. And just to give you our information, which I'll also post on the chat, is our hotline to get a direct person to speak to is 800-927-4357, or you can visit us online at insurance.ca.gov, where you can either ask a question, file a complaint, and we even have live chat where you can talk one-on-one with a live person online. So I'll leave it at that.
Well, that's all great information. And I'm really excited about the moratorium bulletin where the insurance can't cancel for a year. That's awesome, especially for our area. So do we have any questions then for Tony? I know he gave us a lot of information, and luckily we're recording because I didn't get it all written down. I'm just trying to see if I see the hands up. All right, no questions about the insurance department? I'm shocked.
Hold on,
I
I
see
have
one.
a question, Jamie.
Oh, yes, Julie, hi, go ahead.
Yeah, so this 1 year, I guess that goes fast. So are they gonna then, what's gonna happen after that? I mean, or do you know, is it gonna go, because our worry up here is, we've had fires quite a bit over the last decade, and it's gotten closer to communities in the last 5 years, and we've all experienced that. So I'm just curious if what are they gonna do? Are they gonna do something different once that year's up in terms of our area in Siskiyou County, or what?
Well, the way the law works, it's a law created by the legislature, and it's a 1 year, it's a temporary kind of pause to help things settle down so that insurance companies aren't overreacting in canceling or non-renewing people just immediately after the fire, and this lasts a whole year. So it's not something that's a long-term fix. After the 1 year is over, it'll fall back to the guidelines that the insurance company has in place. And so if you're a certain risk score, or you have a certain profile with your address or your home structure, and it falls outside of their underwriting guidelines for renewing your policy, the insurance company would then be allowed to non-renew your policy after that 1 year period is up. So it's not going to change the long-term situation that an insurance company can do, but it will create that or kind of slow down that overreaction that occurs. In addition, there are other things being put in place that we hope will also alleviate this issue. One, namely, is the Commissioner Lara is adopting regulations, which will be effective later towards the end of this summer, that will require insurance companies, when they use wildfire risk scores, which we're knowing and we're finding out, and you all know that that has a great impact on whether they'll insure you in the first place, whether they'll renew you, and what price you'll pay for your premium. This new regulation will require insurance companies that use these risk scores to include mitigation, both individual mitigation and community mitigation, into those scores. So if they're going to rate you based on whatever score it might be, that score needs to be reduced if you as an individual, based on certain criteria, or you as a community, whether it's in a community, could be a county, it could be fire safe community, it could be whatever works within that particular geographic area as a community. If there's certain mitigation involved, the insurance company needs to take into account mitigation. So that's one of the things that's hopefully long-term is going to mitigate the problem. It's not going to solve it completely because we still have wildfire risk, but it is one thing that Commissioner Lara is doing in that respect. And I'll just leave that as it is. There are other things in play. Some of them have to deal with possibly getting some changes at the legislature, some of them having to do with changes to the FAIR Plan to require them to have a more robust insurance policy so that you don't have to buy both the FAIR Plan dwelling policy and then the additional complementary policy, so you're paying for two policies versus one. So we're hoping to resolve that issue. Unfortunately, after Commissioner Lara directed the FAIR Plan to create that comprehensive policy, FAIR Plan sued the department and the commissioner. So that issue is currently in litigation. So until that litigation is resolved, either through settlement or through the court system, that's still on a pause. So those are just some of the things that we're doing that's in our control to try to assist with regard to the insurance piece of this.
Okay, did that answer your question, Julie?
Yeah, I think so. A lot of it anyway. Yeah. I'll just say that that is a good thing because the mitigations for like when you go to get insurance and all the things, you can have a house with all the hardy board siding, the correct roof, the correct eaves and everything, and yet still refused. And so I'm hoping that, and that's kind of a puzzle. So I'm hoping that will help in that matter, and as well as brush clearance and everything. But there's a lot that seem to be ignored, but maybe what you're saying will help. So yes, thank you.
All right, Yvonne, you had a question?
Yes, as a follow-up to the question you just answered, thank you for the information that you did provide, Tony. Is there a program or guidelines to have these scores and the things for mitigation standardized, or are they still individual for each company can set their own? Or I'm just looking for some kind of way to advise people in this area to say, okay, if you do these 10 things, these are the guidelines, instead of having it be kind of a hit or miss with each company.
Well, yeah, and I'll answer that in a couple different ways. Backing up a little bit, last year, Commissioner Lara was part of a partnership with CAL FIRE, other state agencies with regard to creating mitigation techniques and identifying both individual and community-wide what some of those techniques would be reasonable to do, and that the insurance industry would accept as lowering risk, and that all the experts, with CAL FIRE and everybody else, also agreeing that these are legitimate things to be done. Those standards are incorporated in the regulation that I mentioned earlier, which is the mitigation, if you do the mitigation. So those complement each other. In addition, our hope is the regulations will also help standardize the risk scoring, not just for the mitigation piece, but for the other aspects, because it does also spell out that it deals with fuel load, slope, and other factors that can be used, as well as factors that can't be used with regard to what can be in these risk scoring models that are used. And so we're hoping that helps standardize it, including of adding the mitigation piece, standardizing what's currently being used.
Great, thank you. That answers my question, and I'm glad to hear about that.
All right, Giselle, did you have a question? I saw your hand up.
Yeah, I think it was answered when he talked about wildfire risk score. I was going to say, is there a way that insurances can be lowered if people do the work? And I know some are saying that if you become a FireWise community, that some insurances will accept that credential as a way to lower your insurance. I don't know, Tony, if you know anything about that. Do you know anything about FireWise communities, and if that helps to lower, if that credential helps to lower your rates?
Yeah, a couple of things there. First, a FireWise community could be something that triggers the mitigation requirement in the regulations I mentioned. But in addition, on our website, we also have a list of a growing list. I think it's 20 companies now that currently offer credits for either individual mitigation or community mitigation, and they'll spell out the type of community mitigation. Some may say a shelter-in-place community, some may say FireWise community, some may say a fire safe. It just depends on the insurance company. But we have a list on our website of what the insurance company, these 20 or so insurance companies, will accept for the mitigation credit in their premiums.
And is that an application for each of those things to the insurance company? Is it paperwork you have to fill out proving that you are FireWise, or do you know what they require?
Well, we'd have to look at the specific requirement, but in general, if you're in a certain address and a zip code, the insurance company will know if you're in let's say a FireWise community or a shelter-in-place community, whatever trigger they're incorporating into their mitigation credits. And so, but if you're currently not getting, let's say you're with that company currently and you're not getting that credit, it would be worth talking to your agent or broker to have them add that credit. It'd be like if you didn't get your credit for a fire alarm and now you say, okay, I got a fire alarm, and then they just give you a credit for it. So that's the way we expect it to work in terms of if you currently with that company. For new business, then just we would encourage people to make sure they mention this so that when they first sign up for the policy, they get that credit.
So for an example, the Fire Safe Council of Siskiyou County and the Mount Shasta Area Fire Safe Council have put a series of fuel breaks around the town. Plus we've added a couple more recently, and we've got another one or two, one for Caltrans and one down in Dunsmuir that we're adding. But yet our insurance on my home right here in town, surrounded by concrete, almost doubled this year. So why, and how can we notify our insurance company to take note of what's been done here?
Well, a couple things. First, there's about, like I said, about 20 companies that are currently offering mitigation credits And you need to see whether your particular company is offering these community credits and for what purpose, whether it's Firewise or some other purpose. And if they're currently not offering it for you, and they are offering it, if you see that on our website, then contact them or contact us, and we can follow up and make sure they're doing that. Now, in terms of overall, not all companies are offering these credits. They'll have to offer them once this regulation I mentioned goes into effect and they do new filings. But currently only 20, which is still a good portion of the insurance market, but it's not everybody. So you would have to see if your company's on that list already. If they're not, then they're probably going to wait, since we've asked them all already to do it voluntarily. They're going to wait until this regulation forces them to institute those credits for the community mitigation.
So I'm thinking then, if they are on the list, we should call and negotiate with them and others as well. If we think that we should be getting credits and we're not seeing them, is it prudent to call the company and negotiate with them?
Yeah, I wouldn't even call it negotiate, because everything is structured, and there's a filing that's on file with us that says if you're in a fire safe community, you get this credit. So if that's one of the companies that someone's with, it's not a matter of negotiation. It's a matter of letting them know that you're in this community and therefore deserve this credit. So it's not a matter of negotiating. In most cases, it doesn't matter that the Firewise community have done this or that, only that it is in fact a Firewise community.
Okay, I see. So then I had two more questions relating to the current fire situation and some of the fires that we've had in the past where claims have been slow to be slow to be processed, and often they don't get full payment for what they thought their insurance covered. In these cases, can we come to you, or who do we take our grievances to concerning not expediting claims or not paying out full payments?
Well, absolutely. That's what we do. That's what, we're here for, as a state agency, is to make sure that insurance companies fulfill their obligations. So as I mentioned at the beginning, for those that suffered losses for these recent fires, go to our table at the local assistance center next week and start asking those questions and getting feedback, et cetera, et cetera. And if your adjuster's not calling you back at the beginning of your claim, or you've gone through 3 or 4 adjusters and there's conflicts of information, just contact us again through either our hotline or our website, file a request for assistance, and we'll assign it to one of our experts, and they'll take that case and they'll live with it throughout the process. Even if we resolve, let's say, a single issue today, a delay of an adjuster not returning a call, at least we'll now have you on file. So if next month there's an issue with your smoke claim or your damage contents issue or your structure, we could also look at that, and we won't be reinventing the wheel. So at any point in time, whether it's a small issue or a big issue, contact us if you feel you're not being treated properly.
Good information. Thanks, Tony. I appreciate it.
Okay, I'm just double checking. We don't have any more questions right this minute for Tony. Duria, were you going to speak too as well?
No, Tony is our subject matter
Yes.
expert, but I just wanted to let you know that I am your outreach analyst. So if you have any questions after this event, also, feel free to reach out to me. And also, Tony was talking about different resources, and I've put all those in the chat for you. So it's, it's readily available for you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. I just did have one question for Tony, because my computer froze while you were talking in the very beginning about what was happening on the 17th and 18th at the COS campus. Could you say what that was again?
Yeah, we were, a local assistance center is going to be there for 2 days. At this point, we were told 2 days. next Wednesday and Thursday, 17th and 18th. I think from 9 to 7. I don't have the exact hours at my fingertips, but it'll be basically all day. And you'll probably get other information from them. We can send you further information as I don't even know how public it is. We were just told about this just yesterday as far as confirming dates and times. So we're going to be there. California Office of Emergency Services works with the county to set these things up. And
Okay.
so there'll be county services, state services, including the Department of Insurance, and various nonprofits to assist people throughout the various stages of what needs they may have, depending on whether it's just temporary shelter issues or whether it's more long-term recovery issues. They're there to get information, give information, and help people along through this recovery process. And so we'll be there with at least one or two of our staff at the Department of Insurance table, ready to answer questions and give brochures that'll help with identifying kind of the claims process and give other tips that someone may have, as well as walk them through their policy if they want to bring it in and they have questions. I had a claim and here's my policy. What do you think? And we're happy to walk through that policy with.
Okay, great, thank you. And we have a massive mailing list for our county, so we'll definitely put that out on that. So we'll help get the word out for that. And thanks, Yvonne. I see that you put it up on there for us too. All right. If anybody thinks of other questions for Tony, please keep them. And we'll get to them. But now we'll move on to Brian Johnson, who has agreed at my request to speak with us tonight. He's coming at it from a different angle. He's an actual insurance agent and out of Mount Shasta. So Brian, welcome.
Well, thank you. I kind of piggyback on what Tony had to say. I know I was going to kind of touch bases. I know a bunch of people had some questions about maybe some memos they received about a wildfire defense program nationwide, sent it out. It's new to us as well, but hopefully I can answer any questions that people have about that, because I'm sure there's a few. And coming from an agency perspective on some of the stuff that Tony touched on, yeah, the moratoriums are a great deal. It gives you at least gives you another year to breathe, kind of. But unfortunately, like he said as well, and we ran into it, as soon as that year is up, if you're in an area that the insurance company doesn't really want to be riding in, they're going to non-renew you unless another declaration, emergency declaration is established, which is unfortunate, but that's kind of what we're dealing with right now. Also with the mitigation questions and all that kind of stuff, and the questions about having more of a standardized, wildfire score. Us being an independent agent, we have access to a bunch of different carriers, and I can tell you that is welcome news to my ears. But right now, we're still dealing with each insurance company basically has their own wildfire scoring program that they utilize. So it makes it difficult, to figure out, how that's going to go for you, other than just going through the quoting process and see what happens. And also the mitigation was also welcome news as well, because a few years ago, if you were in an outlying area, but you did all the stuff that you needed to do that CAL FIRE required and all that kind of stuff, and did mitigated your house, the underwriters actually would have a little leeway. They could actually accept your homeowner's policy, as opposed to if someone wasn't doing that, they would decline that one. But right now we're dealing with basically if your address falls on a map that's within boundaries that this wildfire program says that that you're unacceptable, then it really doesn't matter what you've done at a homeowner level as far as mitigation goes, which I don't necessarily agree with either. So that I was happy to hear that. But more than anything, I just kind of wanted to come on here and answer any questions, it's at least from the agency level, what people might have.
Okay, so I just have a couple clarification questions, but I don't want to go first. I want to make sure that anybody else has questions about like their insurance or this new wildfire response amendment that I just got the letters on a couple weeks ago, brought to my attention. I don't see any hands up, but I will go ahead and ask about these response teams then that come into an area to do mitigation work around a home. So, but they're doing it during an event. That's correct? It's not a prevention aspect, right, Brian? They're
Yeah,
doing it during an event.
Yeah, the way I understand it, it's going to be mostly, it's going to be, in a fire event, if the insurance company, obviously they keep a close eye on all that kind of stuff. And if they see that there's an active fire in that area and they have insureds that are in that area, they potentially could dispatch, a team to come over and help save that house.
Okay, now I understand that some insurance companies did do that for this fire already. And my question though, I don't know if you can answer it, but maybe you could find out the answer for us, is that one of the things that when we have a going fire, an active fire, it's really important when you're from a firefighter standpoint to know who's out there on the ground, especially in areas that have been evacuated. You want to know who's out there doing work. And so for a team to come in from the insurance agencies to come in during an active event without being part of the fire team, I can see that being a potential issue. Am I making myself clear? I'm sorry if I'm not.
No, yeah, that makes total sense. Now they're supposed to, that team is supposed to correspond with the local authorities and that kind of stuff before they just go, showing up at a park, in a property. And they've also said too, if the area is deemed unsafe by local authorities and that kind of stuff, then they're not able to come and help save that house potentially. If it's too late, or if the fire's burning out of control too close to that area, they're just not going to be able to respond to that address.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I come from a fire background, so a firefighter background. So my thing is wouldn't it be better if the insurance agencies came in and sent those teams in before there was the need for them?
Yeah, that's the idea, obviously, to get them in there, well prior to that type of a situation happening. And I personally, my agency, I haven't heard from any of my clients that actually had that any teams respond yet. So it's, like I said, it's pretty new for me. So I don't really have other than what it was given to me by the insurance companies as far as information, I don't really have a first-hand account of how it's been handled so far.
Oh, okay, so yeah, and it's all new to us too here. And like I said, I know that there was a report of some people, I don't know if it was the Yeti or the McKinney, but they talked to a crew that was out there from an insurance agency.
Mm-hmm.
And there was someone who said she was an insurance agent and she had someone, it can't happen last year on the lava fire. And so, but it's not something we all expect on a large scale right now. And so this is all new. That's one of the reasons I asked you here, just because I'm trying to figure out how it fits in to how things work.
Right. Like I said, I represent quite a few insurance companies, and so far Nationwide is the only carrier that I have access to that is actually offering it, that I'm aware of anyway, unless some of them are doing it with unbeknownst to the agents. It's a pretty good program. I mean, they do a bunch of other stuff, non-destructive mitigation around the house, removing different furniture and stuff, maybe that might be flammable around the house, helping set up sprinklers. And then, last resort type stuff, they actually will, basically they'll foam your house, with the gel, put fire retardant on some of your, shrubbery and stuff and trees around the house to try to help, keep that fire from igniting your house. So, I mean, it seems like it's a good program, hopefully, if it works. And then that, I'm sure this would be a question too, is, once your house is kind of, covered in foam and gel and that kind of stuff, that team is supposed to come back and actually help clean all that stuff off your house as well.
Okay, and Brian, how do people find out if they have this as part of their insurance?
You know, as far, if you're a nationwide client, it's automatically included in your homeowner's policy right now. And you do have the option, if for whatever reason you don't want people coming on your property, you do have the option to opt out. You've got to fill out a form and send it in. As far as the other insurance companies, I guess, you know, the best thing would be probably just to contact your agent and have them contact the carrier and find out if they offer some sort of a program like that. Would be the easiest way to do it.
Okay, I know I got, my letter was from Farmers,
Okay.
but Farmers over on the coast, not here, so I'm not sure
Okay.
if it's it being here. So I have a hand up. Yvonne has a hand up.
Yes, I just wanted to give my experience on this fire with that program. I'm not absolutely sure if we're nationwide insurers, but what happened is that at some point, a few days after the initial 2 days of very, very active fire, we did have insurance company representatives come to our property and tell us what, look around and tell us what they were going to do in case the fire did come further down to our property. And it goes right in line of what Brian was saying about wrapping the house or foaming it, et cetera. They don't work at night, they said. It's only during the daytime. And you don't really have control over like, hey, come now. They're just out there, looking at the properties that they have as clients, and they'll use resources if available. So it's not a guarantee, but I did have representatives show up, and I was able to call the agent, and they put in a notification that yes, we were in need. So that was my experience just a few days ago.
Well, thank you, Yvonne. Yeah, like I said, it's all new. It's great that this is happening, but it's kind of like, how does it roll out where I'm sitting at?
Yeah, it's definitely that, that is definitely something that they notate in there. It's definitely not a guarantee that they're going to show up, obviously. Another thing is too, obviously if you live in an outlying area, a lot of people have gates and stuff like that to enter their property. If that gate's locked and they can't access it, then they're not going to come in. I know a lot of people, if there's an active fire going, they're going to open their gates, but in case they don't, that's another thing where they can't cross that.
Okay, thank you. Giselle, you have a question?
Yeah, for Yvonne. Yvonne, did the fuel breaks you all put in around your area in Beaver Creek, did that keep the fire from moving in? Was there any success stories as far as Fire Safe Council work in your area?
I would say, it's very difficult to determine that, but yes, I can say that both in the Beaver 2014 fire and this fire, there was active fire along Beaver Creek Road. And Beaver Creek Road was one area that we aggressively reduced fuels on. And for example, there were large grapevines that were in the very, very tall trees, ponderosa pines, and that was directly across the road from homes. So we tore all those down. We did like a shaded fuel break treatment in that area. And in both this fire and in the 2014 Beaver fire, all the homes were saved. And I can guarantee you that that wouldn't have happened otherwise. So that's a success story. On the 2014 Beaver fire, the fire was on the east side of the west side of the road. And it did cross the road here and there, but like I said, the fuel load that was there that did burn was much, much lower than what it would have been. And then this fire, it was on the east side of the creek, east side of the road. Excuse me, just a second, there's an alarm going on. Okay, so it was on the east side, and they were able to fight the fire and save the homes with some breaks in the fuel, certainly.
That's good news. So we know that what the fire safe councils and others are doing is actually paying off. It's good stuff. So, and thank you for your hard work out there. And for any grantors that might be on here, just realize that fuel mitigation in these areas by fire safe councils and others is a good thing. It works. We need your help. Yeah,
A shameless plug.
of course. Yeah.
All right, do you have any other questions for Brian? I appreciate you coming, Brian. We will probably have more questions, and what usually happens is as people think of them and stuff. So if you don't mind, I'll keep you on an email list if we have any more questions.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Yeah, reach out to me whenever you want. I'm happy to help, from the agency side. And to kind of touch one last thing with Giselle, she was asking about the different mitigation that the communities are doing. I'm not sure exactly how that information is going to get relayed onto the insurance company, but my hope is, obviously that makes a big difference. My hope is that will actually get included into some of this wildfire mapping and stuff that they end up doing. It's just a matter of getting that information to the insurance carriers so they can update that as it's been done.
So CAL FIRE Siskiyou unit already has a bunch of that in there, and they've also the Shasta Valley RCD has hired a group that's also putting in all the fuel breaks for local maps. But the information's out there. I'd just like to see the insurance companies grab onto it and start reducing our premiums based on those mitigations.
All right, thank you very much. And I'd like to say that I had called another insurance agent and they didn't even respond to me. So again, thank you very much, Brian. You're appreciated.
More than welcome.
All right, next on our list tonight is Mary, and I'm sorry, Mary, I'm sure I'm gonna Bazako.
Yeah, that was right.
Oh, okay. So I will let you tell what CORE is. You'd do a better job than me. So if you introduce yourself and tell what CORE is before you speak, that'd be great.
Yeah, so I'm Mary Bazzacco. I am a program manager with CORE, Community Organized Relief Effort. We are okay, sorry, someone was making sound. We are an international humanitarian relief nonprofit organization. We're doing work over in working with like Ukrainian refugees right now. We've done COVID testing and vaccines, currently responding to the flooding in Kentucky. Just a range of different responses. And if anyone isn't aware, we currently have a wildfire mitigation program up and running in Dunsmuir. It is a pilot for us, and of course, just looking to get more into the wildfire space and figure out where we fit. So with the fires going on, we mobilized our team in Dunsmuir and came up to Wairika to start and kind of just see how we could plug in and support. And then we also moved into Happy Camp, and the incident management team out of Happy Camp was really grateful to have extra hands to help in as public information officers. So we were posted up outside of the post office in Happy Camp, kind of helping, inform community members about what's going on with the Yeti fire, and also assist people with signing up for Code Red and understanding Zone Haven. We've attended community meetings in both Happy Camp and Wairika areas, and there's a lot of confusion about Zone Haven. I know it's new, but that's definitely a space where, moving forward, I think we need to up the education in that area. And just in Happy Camp, we helped 160 people with learning what Zone Haven is. And then we did about 60 signups for Code Red. And then also We hired a crew out here in Happy Camp, a local contractor, to do some defensible space and home prep. And although the fire is mostly contained over here now, we're finishing out the week with the homeowners we've committed to. Yeah, that's what we've done so far. Kind of ramping down for now, but continuing our assessments of how we can support.
Okay, can you describe a little bit what you're doing in Dunsmuir as well?
Yeah, so we are partnered with the Fire Safe Council and then also Dunsmuir's Disaster Planning Advisory Committee. And we have mostly been doing defensible space work and some like education and outreach at events. And after, this response, we're really looking to ramp that up because that, like we've seen, has been such a gap, like with the education and preparedness aspects. We're going to be doing more tabling just in places with high foot traffic for the next month or two. So I guess the work that we've been doing in Dunsmuir really translated into this response because it's mostly like, although it's in a response setting, it's still the preparedness and mitigation.
Okay, wonderful work. I have only, before this, had only just heard of CORE, really didn't understand what you did, where you went, until I started looking it up. So I think it's fascinating as a nonprofit to do this. Giselle, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to weigh in on what Mary had to say. So there was an outreach in Dunsmuir last Saturday that CORE was at, and also DPAC, Dunsmuir's Disaster Mitigation Group, along with Linda and Carolyn, both Linda from Dunsmuir and Carolyn from CORE. And one thing they did that I really thought was cool was they took the magnets that were produced by OES that have the Zonehaven QR code on them, magnets that are, they're, refrigerator magnets. And they were helping people look up their zone. And with a felt pen, they wrote the zone on the magnet, and then people could take it home and put it on their refrigerators and know their zone always and have the QR code there and everything. I thought that was a really great idea. And I sure appreciate all the hard work that CORE has put into getting the word out and helping people with Zonehaven and Code Red.
Yeah.
You guys helped so many people in Happy Camp get signed up too, because when I was there a few weeks ago, like the director of the community resource center out there had never even heard of Zonehaven and wasn't signed up for Code Red either. And so I left like 200 of the handouts we've been giving out with them, and she was going to try to really push it out. That was almost a month ago now, I guess. So yeah, I was surprised that even the president of the community resource center had never heard of it. So there was definitely a need. You're right. I'm glad you guys were out there. Thanks for being the boots on the ground out there.
Yvonne, you have a question?
It's more of a comment. I just
Okay.
want to piggyback on that. When this particular disaster started, Code Red was something our community knew about, but Zonehaven, no. So I'm not sure where the disconnect is in informing the community about that, but good work, excellent work that's practical and simple actually to reach people and educate them about their zone. I really take my hat off there to the CORE volunteers or the CORE group there. Thank you.
And I think this is a good segue, unless I have any more specific questions for Mary. Giselle?
Well, I just wanted to add one thing, that the Fire Safe Council of Siskiyou County's technical website technician, Zep Jameson, put all the zones for your Fire Safe Council territory in and your link on our website. So if you go to our homepage and then go over to Fire Safe Councils and you scroll down and you find your Fire Safe Council, for instance, Dunsmuir's, we'll go there, click on Dunsmuir, and you go down and there's all the zones in Dunsmuir. So you can go there and check it out. It makes it a little simpler. You still need to put in your address into Zone Haven and find out exactly what your zone is, but it gives you an overview. And also, if you want anything added to your web on our links, particularly for your Fire Safe Council, we would really like to hear from you. We will put anything in there that's pertinent and valuable, and that will all go to Zep Jameson. And Zep, if you would put in chat how they can get a hold of you for that, I'd sure appreciate it. So we can start, upgrading and updating our website with good information. Any questions about that?
Well, and I was thinking I was going to ask for topics of interest for following meetings. And I did think about doing the zone info for this meeting, but I thought it would maybe just add to a lot of confusion right now, but maybe in our September meeting, doing a whole meeting on the zones and how people can find out the information and how we can get the word out more. And yes, it's brand new to our county. And yes, unfortunately, we had the need for it before everybody was educated. So I'm thinking that might be a good topic for our next meeting. I know I said that I wasn't going to do the normal agenda, but we have a couple people on here. I just want to make sure I give an opportunity if they need to speak. Todd with Pacific Power is on. He was on. Are you still with us, Todd?
I am still here.
There you are, Todd. I just wanted to give you an opportunity if you wanted to do any updates or speak. I don't want to cut anybody off who might have something important.
There's really not much to report right now. I mean, when this started, we brought in assets from as far north as Grants Pass, or a little bit actually north of that. And we brought even some generators from our sister company out in Utah. And I think our crews are getting kind of the handle of it. We created a temporary service center down in, I apologize if I've mispronounced this town, Grenada or Grenada? Grenada, thank you. So that temporary service center is going to be there, but I think we'll be starting to move back to our normal center next week. And personally, I've been working with a couple of the county supervisors and the city of Wairika on some of their needs, and we've been able to help in certain areas, but providing some animal food and some help the shelter down in the weed area. But besides that, that's all I really can report right now.
All right, thanks, Todd. You don't know the cause of why we lost power in the Etna Scott Valley area for 8 hours the night before last night, do you?
I do not, but I can look it up and find out for you.
No, it's all right. I was just curious. Yeah. All right. Is there anybody else on here that may have an update for us that is pertinent from a time perspective? If not, then any more questions for our speakers for tonight?
Jamie, it's Jake with CAL FIRE. How are you?
There you are, Jake. I was looking for you a minute ago.
All right, I got a couple things that the unit wanted to pass on just to the fire safety councils. It does tie into the fire a little bit, but the main thing is that, we've done a lot of work on contingency lines in both the Wairika and the Scott Valley areas. And we want to really work on teaming up with the local fire safety councils to build those into projects, future planned projects, whether it be for maintenance, whether it be bolstering what's been done or adding on to what's been done. So I would really like if you guys can reach out to those local fire safety councils in Scott Valley and in Wairika and pass on to work through the local battalion chief for us with CAL FIRE to start working on some of those project ideas. And we're also going to work on adding all of those into the unit fire plan. The second update doesn't pertain to the fire, but does kind of tie into the insurance topic in some ways. That fire hazard severity zone update is actually starting to roll out. We have a draft draft map that is in review at the unit level right now. So I would think that they're saying maybe later in the fall, we'll roll that out for the state responsibility area, as well as potentially some LRA stuff coming, in the wintertime or in the spring. And that's all I have, unless there's any questions.
We can certainly help get that word out to the local fire safe councils and of our 24 fire safe councils we have now, a number of them are not active, I guess the best way to say it. But so we can either, if we can get the word out to the ones who are active and the ones who aren't active as the Fire Safe Council of Siskiyou County, maybe we can also incorporate projects and working with the local BCs too.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, the majority of the work's been done in the Wairika area and the Scott Valley area. So working with Perry, working with Wairika, the Wairika Area Fire Safe Council would probably be the first priority. And then there is probably some additional stuff on the Klamath River side as well that we could explore also.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we can help as much as we can. I mean, we're happy to help.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Jake.
Yep.
All right. If I don't have anybody else, I want to say again, thank you to Brian Johnson and Tony and Duria for coming tonight. And Mary has already logged off, but thank you for joining us tonight. I do appreciate it. And we will, before I log off, I have my hands up. Julie?
Yeah, I have one more thing to say. It's been asked that, can we have can you hear me?
Giselle, wait, Julie had her hand up.
Oh, okay,
Let
sorry.
me get those. It's okay. Julie?
Yeah. Okay, so here, hold on a second. Yeah, I wanted to share, since we were talking about tools there for a little bit, some things to use, Zone Haven and specifically Zone Haven and Red. There's another tool that's been passed around. I've given it to several people, quite a few people now, and it's called Watch Do Survey, and it's an app on your phone. And I don't just go get apps because there's so many out there. And so I didn't trust. At first I said, Pat is the one. Pat, my husband, he's OES, California OES, state OES. And he got word of it. And we started monitoring it at least a week before this bust up here in Wairika, the Yeti and McKinney. And it's really accurate. It's been really good. So I wanted to share it with you. And then maybe when you talk next week about zone, you said you wanted to sort of do a meeting, then Jamie, you want to consider talking a little bit about it, reading about it. I read today, so Giselle was asking me who is it? It's a nonprofit. It's not somebody trying to make a bunch of money. It's a group from Sonoma County. You know how many fires they've had and major disasters. And it's I'm going to put this information in chat, and I think it will I'm giving you, all three.
I think Yvonne just put it in there.
Oh, she did.
Yeah.
Good. So it gives you the zones. It gives you Zone Haven links. It gives you maps. It gives you the briefings from the Forest Service, and it gives you updates almost right away on the fire and new fires. So it's a good tool. I'm starting to think, wow, I think everybody should have this. Pretty helpful.
I've had it recommended to me by about 25 people since McKinney started.
Okay.
But no, I think it's great. We can certainly add that in. Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good idea. Yeah.
All right. Good deal.
And then I think what Giselle was going to bring up is that in the McKinney fire, we had lifelong firefighters retired who lost their homes, other people lost their homes. And then, of course, we had the 4 fatalities, and one of them was a lookout for the U.S. Forest Service, and she had done decades of work, Kathy Shootman, as a lookout. And I just want to recognize her here and her years of service and dedication. It was heartbreaking for me to hear that she had passed, and of course, my condolences to all the people who have passed during this event. So I just wanted to put that out there. I have another hand up, Marjorie. Marjorie, are you there? Your hand is up.
Okay, somebody mentioned writing your zone on magnet. My dog, shut up. Can you hold on just a second? Let me put this monster outside. Okay, you can all hear me yelling at my stupid dog. In my cell phone, I looked up on the Siskiyou OES site, and they give you 2 phone numbers for code red. So I entered those in my phone so I know who's calling. So after the contact name says code red, and then right after that, I put my zone. So when I get a code red call and they're telling me something about zones, I got my zone number right in front of me. So that might be a good tip for people, I hope.
Marjorie, you're cutting out.
Oh, sorry. Did you hear what I said about my phone, how I'm remembering my zone? So in your contact list, you can enter, Siskiyou County has 2 different phone numbers that code red might be coming from. So you can find those on the OES site. So I enter those in my cell phone so I know who's calling. And so I have code red, and then I have code red 2. And after code red in the contact name at the top, I put my zone number. So if I get a code red, I know it's code red and my zone number is right there in front of me.
Oh, that's a good idea. Thank you, Marjorie. Okay, do I have Giselle?
I just had one question for someone who might be in the know. Is FEMA out there now? And since we have a state of emergency, does anybody know if FEMA's coming and how people can sign up to get assistance from them?
We have a California state of emergency. I haven't heard that we were a national state of emergency.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
Which is where FEMA comes in.
Right. Okay.
But that doesn't mean they haven't, but I just know the state of emergency was declared by our governor.
Yeah. Good to know.
Okay. Oh, Marjorie, you have your hand up again, or is it the same one?
Same one, sorry.
Okay, no problem. All right, everybody. A lot of people have left, but thank you for those who have stayed. I hope this topic tonight was informative and we can use it. And we will see you next month.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Giselle.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you, everyone. Jamie, do you want to give the date? It's September.
Oh, we'll put it in the chat.
Okay, September 14th. All right.
Okay. Thanks for coming, Yvonne.
Oh, thank you for all the information and for, doing everybody for your service, really. Thank you so much.
And Kristen and Giselle, will you stay on? And Marjorie, I just had a couple questions.
Of course.